real difficult problem. Here's Jim Depew, a little younger than you see him today. But the holiday season was always a joyous one with us in spite of the problems that it presented because of the attitude of the staff and the willingness of the staff to understand that these children too were away from home at Christmas time, and they were sharing with them to make the season as happy as possible for them. Oranges were quite a treat in those days. We didn't have them on the table every day, and to have a nice orange at Christmas time was a real treat. Joe Depew would bring trucks for the boys and lovely big dolls for the girls, and candy and various toys for the children to enjoy in their group. He was very, very devoted to these children and to their happiness and welfare, and of course looked after all of the legal details in connection with those who were adopted and who went out into permanent homes. We never felt that the baby fold was a solution to the child's problem. It was just a temporary respite from the problems that he faced, and as soon as possible we wanted to move them on into their own homes or into adoptive families. These two black babies, of course, are among the minority children that were hard to place. We helped organize the adoption exchange in Illinois and worked very assiduously in finding homes for these children. This one little girl went into the home of a minister lawyer who later was appointed to the Human Rights Commission, United Nations, and the last picture we had of her was sitting on President Eisenhower's lap in the Oval Office at the White House. The other little black baby went into a very fine professional home in Gary, Indiana. We didn't restrict ourselves at all geographically when we looked for good homes for these hard-to-place children. We had our own little barber shop up on the second floor, one of the corner rooms that was all glassed in, and Rex Ratcliffe had been one of the regular barbers down at the Tilden Hall Hotel in Bloomington. He became interested in us and came out and took care of the haircuts for all of our older children. He and his wife, Ora, would come out the first Sunday afternoon of each month and trim up all of the children whose hair needed attention. Again, he donated these services. This never cost us anything, and he became a very important member of our staff. Later, he retired and went to Florida, but he didn't like it down there, and they came back to Bloomington. And while he didn't go back to the hotel and to his regular barbering business, he took care of our children until his health failed and he was unable to do so any longer. I felt honored to be asked to have his memorial service and felt that in his passing we had lost one of the really fine volunteer members of our Baby Fold staff. You wouldn't call these styling jobs because they were practically all the same, but at least the children looked neat and nice when they had visitors or when they went out to Sunday school or to various other activities in the community that they would be attending. This visiting group of women is going through to see our total setup. We had visiting hours from 2:30 to 4:30 every afternoon, 7 days a week. We felt it was important to get our friends to come in and actually see our work and to see the needs that we had in order to get them interested in sharing with us in meeting these needs. We felt this was a vital part of our public relations program, and in connection with that, we planned an open house the first Sunday in October so that we could invite in special groups to come and see our facilities and to see our children. In 1940, at this first open house, we had 650 guests sign the register in the course of the afternoon. Our system was so set up that they could go through very, very nicely and without any difficulty whatsoever. We felt that people had to know what we were doing and why we had needs if we were going to get their interest and their financial support. Miss Crane that I spoke of earlier was loaned to us by the Department of Children and Family Services, Child Welfare in Springfield. She was with us on Wednesday of each week and helped set up personal records on each child. We didn't have any record keeping at all. In fact, we had no one to keep the records when we came. And so these records were set up in conformance with state requirements, and we got all the family history we could on all of these children in preparation for planning for their future welfare. Mrs. Blackman came on our staff in 1942 as our first caseworker, and from that time on, of course, the records were kept up and in very good shape. You see our garden in the background there. Our maintenance man had a large garden, which is now a parking lot, but many of these vegetables were brought in directly to the kitchen, and we had them for our food. Here's our little Indian boy again, and you can see how John's working on this wagon. He could take a wagon and make it look as if a train had hit it and nothing flat. And he was a delightful youngster and as full of pep as any child you ever saw. This was a snowstorm picture in 1948. We were hit pretty hard with snow and ice, and a great deal of damage was done to the trees and bushes. The kids enjoyed getting out and helping the maintenance people in cleaning up some of this, and it gave them some exercise and an opportunity to get some good fresh air. You'll note the snowsuits that these children are wearing, all second-handed. We had no money to buy anything new along this line, but families were very good to share snow equipment, boots and the like with us that their children had outgrown. So when we made our needs known, we had no difficulty in getting the equipment that we needed to care for the children during the cold winter weather. I think you can tell from what you see here that the children are well fed, happy, and having a good time. These snow scenes give me the shivers now. The older I get, the more I dread this time of year. But I guess that for children, it's one of the happiest seasons that they live through. They seem to enjoy being in it and getting the exercise and play that goes with this type of activity. I'm sure they were a big help to the maintenance department in getting these things cleared up, but they certainly felt they were a part of the action and having fun doing it. Now to our staff parties, and we have so many pictures that we've taken over the years of these events, but this is one of the earliest ones in the old East Building, where we had little money to work with, but we made a lot of homemade fun. Mrs. Blackman here was our caseworker. These other women have been in the various departments of our work, and our Christmas parties were delightful events. We put on our own entertainment and had our own committees who organized various parts of it, and we had a mighty good time together. You'll notice the equipment in these old buildings, very far from what we've enjoyed in years later on, but they were very adequate, at least we thought they were at the time, and we made the best we could with them. Mrs. Cole here, the wife of our first field director, Reverend Cole will show up here in a minute, who was the first public relations person that we had on our staff full time. Had been out at Park Church at one time and came to us from the Methodist Church at Cambridge. After he retired and went to California, he organized 3 new churches out there before his death. It It would be interesting, if time permitted, to tell you more about all of these people whose memories remain vivid with us because of the closeness of our family group. We all lived together in this house. Our bedroom was upstairs on the second floor, and our living quarters were downstairs with our kitchen and bathroom at the far west side. So when I came down to the bathroom of a morning, I had to come through the front hall and our living quarters to get to the kitchen and bath area. The housekeeper here, who shows up in a minute, Hazel Lauer right here, said that I couldn't dress to fool her on the Halloween parties because she recognized my legs. She would see me of a morning when I would come down the stairs, and she said I couldn't dress in any way to fool her. She would know me. You see, we had pretty good refreshments. Bruce is working away on his, and this girl was one of our cleaning girls and worked in the laundry. This girl was a family mother. They fixed some very delicious refreshments. Mrs. Blackman was enjoying hers. And as I've indicated before, this was all homemade entertainment. These two little junior Santa Clauses here thought they had everybody fooled. They said to their mother afterwards, "We don't think anybody recognized us." Dr. Yoder was one of our succeeding pediatricians who came to us after Dr. Jones retired. A very fine Christian man who followed in Dr. Jones' tradition of caring for our children. You can see how thorough a physical examination he gives to these babies. He too would come of Thursday afternoons, which is his day off, and examined the babies and referred to the charts that Miss Hochberg and the family mothers had kept, so that if there were any abnormalities developing or anything unusual, he was right informed and ready to take care of it. These charts and histories on these children were very meticulously kept, so that when we placed a baby in adoption, we had a very good understanding of its background, of its problems, and this would augment the family history that the caseworker would get from the mother at the time the child was brought to us. Dr. Yoder had such a fine Christian spirit, was genuinely interested in these youngsters. You can tell by the way he reacts to them and the smile on his face that he was really enjoying what he was doing. And like these other doctors before him, felt that he was making a real contribution to the Total Baby Fold program. When he left Bloomington, he went to Elkhart, Indiana. We've heard from him over the years. He's had a very fine career as a pediatrician. Now we move over to the old houses that are coming off of Linden Street.